Hi guys, Coach Fenz here from FTP Training. What we're going to talk about today in the Friday Tips with Fenz, I've talked about a little bit before, but I think it's something which needs sort of constantly to be brought up with athletes, because it suddenly, we lose track of things and we become preoccupied on results basically that are not really within our control. So what we're going to talk about today is being process driven. Okay, we all want to go and win, or we all want to go and beat our Strava mates up the mountain, people that we know. But what we can never do is we cannot control the actions of others. So in race situations, if you plan, and set yourself this lofty goal of going to win a race, and you suddenly turn up there and an ex-professional rider has rocked up and he's in your category and he beats you, often that can lead to being really demotivated and you're feeling like you haven't achieved what you set out to do. If you're going to go and try and beat your mate's Stravas and you think that you've been training really hard and you go for it, but you don't beat it, again, what you don't know is that your mate has been training equally as hard as you and your progression in getting fitter has been quite similar. Okay, so, what can we do to sort of get over this and still feel like we're achieving and still feel like we're going to be progressing? And the key there is to be process driven. And by that I mean, if you focus on the processes that gain you the outcome, then you can always tick off that you've learnt something, that you've discovered something, that you've achieved something throughout the process to being the best you can be. It's not necessarily always about beating others. As I say, you can't control them. But if you set little targets throughout your training, when you start, it might be that your pacing is not very good in events. So how do you go about understanding how your pacing should be? Looking at race files, looking at power output, looking at heart rate through the race could show you that, the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of a race that you're at VO2, and that, your VO2 energy system will only fuel performance, 6, 8, 10 minutes, adding on to that really, over threshold efforts. And therefore you run out of puff, and basically you need to slow down to recover, and that's when people go past you, your head goes down, your shoulders go down, you think that you're going backwards, you feel like you're not fit enough to do the event or to get the result you're after. But it isn't that, it's pacing. So you can look at files later on, then the next time you go out, set yourself some challenges on pacing, which means then that you complete that in that particular race and you've achieved something. That's a good process to have learned, because that's going to hold you in good stead in races or events further down the line. You might look at nutrition and how do you feed properly. You practice it in training and you get it right, and then in the race, suddenly from being a person that didn't drink enough or missed gels or missed feeds, suddenly you're nailing your strategy for hydration and feeding, and that's another process ticked off that's going to help you achieve more in the long term. Smaller off the bike things like stretching, like strength and conditioning, all of these things again help you in the long run. If you start to implement them properly, they're all processes will help you to be the best you can be. Alright, so big key thing from this is don't focus on the results of others, and often don't set yourself a target of a result base or a time base, because other things can scupper that goal to be achieved. As I say, you can't control the actions of others and how fit others are or who turns up to the race. You can't control what the conditions are like when you do your local time trial and it's a block headwind and you don't achieve the time you're after. Alright, so focus on the things within your control, be process driven, and I'm sure you'll get out there and through time you'll become a faster, stronger and better athlete than you ever thought possible. Alright guys, I'll catch you out on the road or trail. Bye bye.